Okay, thank you very much for attending today's webinar. We're going to go ahead and cover accessing the back end, which is the management area of your Signarama franchisee store, and where you can find your inquiries as well as any new orders. And anytime a customer comes on and fills out a form or actually uploads artwork, where you can find that and how to download that to your system to process that artwork for that order. So we'll be covering that today. So what you see in front of you is your Signarama front end of your store. So this is a SAR, this is a demo site, but basically you'll see your front end, and on the back of the URL, in order to get to the management area, we're going to go ahead and put /manage, and that's going to take us to the login screen. So this is where we can log in to access that management area. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my email as well as my password. And I'm going to log in, and this is the home screen of the management area. So this is where you're first going to be directed to once you sign in to the back end or management area of your site. And again, this is where you're going to be able to set up your e-commerce. It's also where you're going to be able to customize the site. But today we're going to be focusing on inquiries and orders and downloading artwork or out of your system to process orders. So first things first, we're going to come up here, and when an inquiry is processed or taken over the site, you have on the back end this area here. And under inquiries, if I click on inquiries, this is where I'm going to be able to see all the inquiries that have been made on my site. So what you see here is a variety, and again, I'm on a test site, but you'll see the ID number that's coming in for that inquiry. You'll also see the status of whether it's an inquiry or an order. In this case, because we're only looking at the inquiries, the status will be inquiry. You'll also have the destination, which is basically the subject. It will also reference the companies that is placing that inquiry. So when they log on to your site, it's going to capture their information. It's going to populate that destination field. You'll see the total amount. But if I come in here and I just view one of these inquiries, and I click on the button View to the far right, this is going to open up that inquiry. So I can see specifically who the customer is, what their address, email, telephone. It's going to give me the date that they registered on my store. So I'll be able to see that and the date that that inquiry came in. Now, what you'll also see down here below is the product. So this is where you get a synopsis of what products are actually being ordered or an inquiry has been placed on. So in this case, you're seeing the standard banner. It's giving you a reference number. It's also telling you quantity 1. And there is a stock photo art charge. So basically they're using one of the Fotolio charged artwork there. So it's a $10 charge. So it's giving you the subtotal and everything associated with this particular inquiry. Now, if I want to export this information, this art out, I can go ahead and hit export, and that's going to allow me to export that artwork. Now, I will have to select the format I want to be able to export that. So if I just did a JPEG, but I can, use any of the selections down here below. So I'll make my selection, and then I'm going to go ahead and I can include the bleed or not, and then I can just go ahead and say export artwork. So that's going to be the artwork that's associated with that online designer. So if they came on there and they actually used that online designer, and you'll see here's the JPEG right here. If I click on it, I'll be able to see that artwork. Now it is locked, so I unfortunately don't have that information to unlock it because I am on a demo store. But it will give you this file, and you can basically click on that, save it to your computer, and then open it up. Now I'll go ahead and close this. So that's where you would see your inquiries. Again, it's going to be here under inquiries, and that'll give you a list of those inquiries. The other thing that your store will do is under the managers section. So if I come over here to the home screen, what you'll also see is under the general settings, under managers, I can click on this link. And this is going to be designating who can manage the site, but it also designates who receives an email when an inquiry is made or an order is made. So basically you can go here to this back end area and check who do you want to receive an email notifying them that an order or inquiry has been placed on your site. And so you'll have an email of that inquiry or order, and you'll also be able to come to the back end of the site, the management area, and view those inquiries like we just looked at. Also, under the inquiries dropdown, you'll notice that you can download all your inquiries. So I can go ahead and download this list of all the inquiries. So I can choose what to do, what inquiries. Do I want to do inquiries that have been assigned to someone, have been viewed? Do I want to download everything? So if I want to download all, I can just basically download all my inquiries, and it will allow me to do that. The same thing goes under inquiries. You have various forms. You might have a request for quote form or an upload artwork form. If you have those forms on your site, under inquiries and the drop down, you have your form responses. So that upload artwork form or any of the other forms that you have will come in here. So if someone fills out and uploads that or fills out that form and hits submit, it will appear here in your form responses. And you can edit those. So you'll see the customer, you'll see what form it was. In this case, it was upload art form. So you can edit this form. You can also come in here and I want to view my responses. So I want to view this particular form response. So it's basically giving me the information, the customer's name and the email, but it will have that uploaded file. So if this was an upload artwork form, which it is, we can now click on this link and this will show us that artwork. You can see it up there in the far left top corner. So I now have that artwork that I can now download and use. So I'll just go ahead and close that. So again, that's under inquiries, form responses. So you'll see all your responses here. You can search by customer. I have 119 entries, so I can move through the different pages this way as well. And then I just go ahead and view that response, and that's where I can find the actual artwork if it was an artwork upload. But in this case, it's just a customer survey. I could go ahead and view that response, and I could take a look at what that customer said. So obviously it was an excellent customer service. So again, test data here. So again, under inquiries, you can find all your inquiries. You can download your inquiries, and you can also find your form responses. So anytime someone responds to a form on your site or hits submit, those will go into this area. And again, to view, you just click on this button over here to the far right that hits view response. Now, an order is different than an inquiry. It's actually, they've taken the time, they've processed the credit card, and they're placing an order. So they've designed using the online designer, and they're placing an online order with on your website. So in order to see the actual orders, you again will be notified that an order's been placed if you've marked that individual or that email address on your back end of your site is something that they can view. But you also can come into the management area, and under e-commerce, I can view my orders. So you can see everything's here listing my orders. Now you can see the status here. You've got a couple different statuses. If it's in progress, it means it's been picked up off the site and you're processing that order. If it's a new order, it will say new order. So you have a couple different statuses in which you can search by. So let's go ahead and we'll pull in this order for 294. So if we hit view, this should pull up the details of that order. And again, you should have your shipping details, your billing details, the subtotal. Now it's also got the product, so it's telling you it's a mesh banner. There's one, a standard banner. And if there was an artwork, you can go ahead and see that artwork by hitting export, and you can export that artwork out just like you did with the inquiries. And then again, you have your summary total. So your orders are very similar to the inquiries. It's just there are official orders that the customer has placed on the site using the e-commerce function. Therefore, they're in this e-commerce drop down under view orders. And you can do just like what you did with the inquiries. You can export some of those, a list of orders out of the system. But again, you will have an email notifying you of an inquiry or an order as long as you're set up here under the managers and you're designated as receiving those inquiries and orders. So I'd like to take any questions at this point. Hopefully that showed you a little bit of how you can process those inquiries and orders, and we'll take questions at this time. Thank you so much.